Giving all praises to the Most High on this holy Sabbath day that He's given us, and we praise Him in the mighty name of Yahweh, by Hashem, Mashiach, Yahweh Shah. The name of the class is going to be The Broken Olive Branch, Northern Kingdom Grafted In. And first, we're going to start off with some history of Northern and Southern Kingdom that some of y'all might not have known about, the split. And to those out there that's watching this on video, if you know somebody that don't know, you always hearing about Paul and all of them talking about grafted in. If you don't know the history, then you don't know what that's talking about. So we got to give you the history and go back into the Old Testament, because you got to understand the Old Testament to get what they're talking about in the New Testament. You got to understand the history to know what it's talking about in the Bible, because the Bible gonna give you the same history. And then when you go and look these things up, you'll find out this history is true, and it's in history books. It's just not in the history books that they have taught us in America. Because you go to school and you'll never see this stuff in the history books. Let me get this. Let me show them this right quick. We're gonna be reading out of this book here. It's called the Bible Atlas, the Holman Bible Atlas, which has history and it has maps and everything in it. Because I like to know what I'm talking about and what land that's in when I'm looking at stuff like that. So we're going to read this right here. Go ahead and call that out and read that for me.
It's the kingdoms of Israel and Judah. This is the introduction. The death of Solomon in 922 BC marked the end of an era in which one king exercised authority over all the tribes of Israel. Henceforth, two independent nations emerged. Judah in the south and Israel in the north.
Hold on, go back. It says two independent nations. So they was all one nation. Now it is two nations. So sometimes when you're looking in the New Testament, it's about nations. It's sometimes it's talking about these two nations because they are two nations now. Read.
Judah is the south and Israel in the north, each with distinct governments and national character. Israel survived the complex international change of the Iron Age for 200 years, not from 922 to 722 BC, while Judah managed to maintain her identity until 586 BC. In the end, both Israel and Judah succumbed to the great powers of Mesopotamia, Azam, and Babylon, whose spreading tacticals engulfed the smaller states of the Levant.
And at this time, what this is talking about, you got the Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom, they split. Now, the Northern Kingdom, which are the other 10 tribes, they lasted 136 years less than the Southern Kingdom. They were conquered by the Assyrians in 722 BC. Then the Southern Kingdom later on lost their kingdom, which is also prophesied in the scriptures because of the fact that we were disobedient to the Most High God. And he told Solomon he was going to take his kingdom away. So, and it was going to be split. And it did just that. It was split and it was taken away. Go ahead.
This period from 922 to 586 BC, often called the divided monarchy, forms the background of much of the Old Testament. Many of Israel's writing prophets, Amos, Isaiah, Michael, Jeremiah, and others, preached in these critical times. 1 Kings 12 to 2 Kings 25, complemented by 2 Chronicles 10 and 36, covers events of this era. Several of the Psalms and perhaps other portions of the wisdom literature reflected this period. All in all, the divided kingdom represents a complex by critical background for understanding much of the Old Testament.
All right, give me just where you at? Okay. Now, like I said, that's how you got to get this information, the history of it, to understand what's going on in the Old Testament, what's going to be going on in the New Testament. Without this history, sometimes people lost. That's why you hear all these Christianity people always quote Paul, but they never understand what went on. You be asked like, do you know about the split of the two kingdoms? They have no idea. But then you don't know what it's talking about when it's talking about the Gentiles of the New Testament.
That's right.
because this is what happened with them. And we're going to get into that in the scriptures. But I want to read y'all first some history on the northern kingdom. Read that.
Israel, the northern kingdom. The two kingdoms of Israel, the two kingdoms of Israel and Judah, though immigrating in the empire of David and Solomon, were fundamentally different in character. Israel, also called Ephraim by the prophets, normally was the wealthier, more powerful, and larger of the two.
See, Ephraim right now is the northern kingdom. That's what they call it when you see Ephraim in the Bible. It's talking about, sometimes it's talking about the northern kingdom. And that's because they settled up in Ephraim. And that's where their kingdoms began when they started this kingdom now. Go ahead.
Her borders extended from Bethel, north, the hills of the Samara, and portions of the Transjordan, including Galilee and North Moab.
Now, the thing about it is the settlement of the northern kingdom, which is up north, from out of Judah up into the Dan, the land of Dan. These were it settled in major good areas. They were in better areas when it came to commerce because you had the two major highways that went through. The highway on the east, on the coast of Mesopotamia, and then you had the highway, the King's Highway. These were two great highways of traveling. And out on that, they had the coast up north through the Mesopotamia, which was more, they made more money than we did. That's right. But we were, as a nation of people, we were more content with what we got. We was cool, like, yeah, we good, but we weren't chasing a lot of money. The Northern Kingdom, even at that time, was some that chased a lot of money. That's like when you go down to Venezuela and you see some of them. They think they're supposed to be, like, they want to be, hey, I got to be like the white man. I got to get this, I got to get that. And we be just over here, just be chilling all the time. We got some people that do that. We be want things, but it wasn't in our nature never to just be, we loved like Jacob was. We chilled at the crib, we're like, so man, I'm chilling. Right. And that's the same thing they did, the same thing they did back then. Go ahead.
Portions of two major international highways, the International Coastal Highway and the King's Highway, traversed Israel territories. Control of these trade routes meant commercial wealth and access to luxury items. The wealthy Phoenicians cities on the northwestern border provided powerful commercial allies to boost the economy. Israel's geographical openness to other cultures fostered a cosmopolitanism in her cities and villages, not only in material cultures or social customs, but even in religion.
And hold on, now these riches that they had, they was rich as far as making money in commerce. The Northern Kingdom was actually richer than us. But the thing about it is, they were also, while they was getting their riches, they was involved with these other countries that was, they was making their money off of. Now, being looking at that is one of the reasons that they were so easy taken away from the law, statutes, and commandments, because they started learning, ooh, look what they doing. Because they selling commerce, everything's going on. They got money. We doing good. So it's like, okay, let me see what else I can do. Because sometimes when people get rich and after money, there's only so much else you can do. You know what I'm saying? Okay, well, I ain't got no power. Or they search for power. Once they got power, then what else can they do? But besides going and get into more things that they shouldn't be getting into, which is what the Northern Kingdom did. Read.
And another point to touch on, like we're bringing out, when you intertwine it with money, guess what else you're going to do? Interracial marriage. Mm-hmm. And that's why the other tribes look diverse. They come from a light to a dark skin. So you may have some Issachars that look like Moab with the slanted eyes, because they mixed amongst them, they mixed amongst the Assyrians. So color doesn't matter when it comes to the Israelites. Yeah. It's your nationality.
Yeah, that's what they said. Ephraim is a speckled bird. And that was one of the things, because Ephraim was everywhere. They was just kicking with everybody. I mean, all over the world. You had money, come on, let's kick it. Go ahead.
Let's say right there.
Phoenicians.
The Phoenicians connected stirred the epidemic of Baalism that Elijah and Elisha so bitterly opposed about 850 BC. Politically, Israel centered on the old tribe territories of Ephraim and Manasseh.
Go ahead to the next.
Shechem, Tarzan, Tisra, and finally Shamara, all located close together in Manasseh.
Now these right here, those three cities right there, those were the capitals. They were moving the capitals around in the northern kingdom. So sometimes when you hear Shechem and Tisra and Samaria, these were the capital cities. Depending on who was the king, they was moving in, just like when Jerusalem was doing that thing. We were moving the capital cities, depending on the king. They was like, this is the capital. Then they made Tisra the capital. Then they went to Samaria, and Samaria became the capital. So a lot of times when you're hearing about the thing, the Good Samaritan, that was an Israelite that was helped the man. It was not another nation of people. That was an Israelite also. This Bible is only about the Israelites. When it's talking about the other nation, it's talking about what they done to us, but nothing that they came and gave us any greatness that we supposed to take them with us. This book is about us, and it's for us. Read.
Served as capitals. From about 850 BC onward, Samaria became the nerve center of Israel until its fall to Azra in 722 BC.
Assyria.
In 722 BC.
Assyria captivity. Give me a second Esdras, chapter 13 and verse 39. I didn't have this in the thing, but we're going to go into that first one, just because we got the history right there. Because at this time, we're going to see, because some people don't like looking at this Apocrypha, when it's Apocrypha is giving the same history that when they go in and looking up any other history, it's biblically, it's sound, and it's historical. And it is inspired. Read.
The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 13 and verse 39. And whereas thou sawest that he put another peaceable multitude unto him.
Another peaceable multitude unto him. That was this other nation. Read.
Verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasseh the king of Assyria.
Hold on, king of who?
The king of Assyria.
That's what he's talking about right here. They were taken, the northern kingdom was taken under captivity by the Assyrians. We were taken captivity at this time by the Babylonians at this time. So when you go now and you're showing the 10 tribes who they are in the Bible, see, when you go to Deuteronomy 28 and 68, that's us. When you go to the other 10 tribes, this is where you come to, because it's the same story like us, but it's over here in this book. It's just not right there where ours is. But you got to show them. So when you are talking to some of your Hispanic people who are Israelites, and your Cubans and your 10 tribes, the other nations, when you learn the charts and who they are, this is where you start to go and start teaching your people. So when those people ask you those questions, you know where to go to. So read this, and it's going to show you what this history was just talking about. Read.
Whom Salmanasseh, the king of Assyria, led away captives.
They were led away captives, just like the history said. Read.
And he carried them over the waters.
He carried them over the waters. Now, what was over the waters at that time was you had the Euphrates River. The Euphrates River runs from the Dead Sea going on out. Now, what that is, when they was in at this time, when they was over towards Mesopotamia, not Mesopotamia, but Medigo Valley is where they was at this time, because they came out of the Babylonians. They were carried over the waters. That water is the Euphrates River. Assyria is on the other side of the Euphrates River, and that's what's going on at this time. So that's what he's talking about when he's talking about they was carried over the water. Read.
So came they into another land.
Now they came into another land because they were just over in their lands. They were taken over. They would now they take it to a new land, another land. Read.
Verse 41. But they took this counsel among themselves.
Now they decided to come together. Hey, man, let's have a meeting. Read.
that they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
Now they want to lead the multitude of the heathens. You remember, they was kicking it with the heathens at first. To the heathens like other nations, every nation. Every time we get something, they want it. And that's the same thing with the Northern Kingdom. Oh boy, they looking too good. They got too much. We're gonna take them captive. Same thing we did in Egypt. When we was all in Egypt, we just outgrew them. Let's take them captive. Read.
And go forth into a further country.
A further country. Read.
Where never mankind dwelt.
Never mankind dwelt. People say this like, and then people say when they're talking about Asherah, they'll say they will say, no, that's over in Syria. No, that's a different Asherah. That's two different. First of all, they spelled two different ways. That's right. And this is a new country. Asherah ran through. We done been walking through that way before. So it's not a new land. And mankind been dwelt there. They living there now as they speaking in here. So it's not talking about that Asherah over there in Syria. It's a different place. And it's spelled different. It's two different words. That's how I can get that out, but don't have my pocket out there. But go ahead.
Verse 42, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
Man, they making a promise to God. They saying, look, if you just get us out of this captivity, get us out of here, we'll keep them law statutes that we weren't keeping in our own land. We'll do that. Read.
And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river.
Man, they entered into the Euphrates River. Remember, they went across the water. Now they gathered, and at that time they want to escape. So they get in boats and they go down the Euphrates River. Euphrates Rivers travel down southward. So people, one thing, they couldn't have been going back up into Syria because they'll be stroking for nothing. They'll be trying to stroke upriver. These are big rivers. These not like these little streams we be seeing out here. These are big rivers that got rushing water in them. So they are traveling down south, especially when you got people you don't have much. It's best to go with the current instead of trying to go against the current. Now, when they come out, go ahead. When they travel down on the Euphrates River, the Euphrates River dumps you off. It goes straight into the Persian Gulf, which is on the on the east side of Africa. The continent of Africa, it's on the east side of Africa. Now, the thing about that is the current of the ocean it'll be running from the east to the west. When it's coming from the east over towards the China area, it runs towards Africa. That current goes into Africa. Those are warm waters. Then that current comes off of Africa and goes down south. The Euphrates River comes right down into that current. So the Most High is smart when he's getting these people out of here. You know, they ain't just in the boats like, cool, man, you know how long it would have been too. They wouldn't have probably never got here. I know I'd have quit out of the boy. You trying to stroke that far? It ain't happening. They would have been, but now they in the Euphrates River. Now this is what's going on. I'm trying to give y'all this picture in your head so you know exactly what's going on. And now they taking that current around Africa. Because he said they in the water. They didn't go back on this land. They going to another place that ain't no man dwell. There's people all in Africa. Everywhere in Africa. Read.
Verse 44. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and he held still the flood so they were passed over.
We said, look, he said, not only that, they on that current, it goes down and around. It's another current that comes up as soon as it gets to the bottom down there, warm water. It's another cold current that goes back up north. And that comes right in here to the same place, what we call the Gulf. We know the Gulf. And that current flows right into the Gulf. And the Gulf current starts circling around this way. That's why hurricanes do that circle. That's exactly what it does. That's exactly what this boat did. It was on this same current. And that current went right into the Gulf, coming right there into Florida. That's why when you look at, what is that book? I got to get that book again.
Lost Tribes and Promised Land.
Yes, it talks about them being in Florida. When they came, they found them. They would say the tribe of Reuben. These are the 10 tribes. They knew who they were at this time. So this is how they got there. That was right. They came to Florida. That's the same exact area that the current took them.
And when you reading this, it's a whole lot of history just in there, like Matthew was saying. you have to kind of picture in your mind by going, this took time to plan. This was millions upon millions of people. This wasn't just like no little groups here. They had to plan, get enough food to sell around there carrying because it took a little while.
Year and a half.
That's why the so-called Issachars, the Mayans, they understood the constellation of the stars. They knew how to navigate, so they was dropping people off on each island and so forth and so forth. Go ahead up.
And what was that you read in 44? He said he held still, said the Most High held still.
Verse 44, for the Most High then showed signs for them. Those signs of the Atlantic coast, that's a tumultuous way to go.
Exactly.
So he held still the flood for them to make a safe passage.
Imagine that, because where do most of our hurricanes come up from?
Exactly.
The Atlantic Ocean. A lot of them coming, especially coming in the Gulf. They always, so they're here the Most High and stop all the floods. No big waves. It's calm waters he got them going over. For a year and a half, he got it where it's smooth sailing for them.
Right.
So they can come over here. Because they made a promise to Most High. They said when we get over there, we're going to do what you said. Right. They didn't keep that promise, though.
Because you can't think of no year where it ain't been a thunderstorm.
Exactly.
Or it ain't been a hurricane or a tornado or anything. And within a year, he held still for 150 years.
And you
so they can make it through that thing. You know what I'm saying? So
you guys also think about the different seasons that they was going through,
right.
too. You know,
because you got a year and a half. You went through all seasons.
All seasons. It was going back around again.
Yeah, and they've been through, and they going through seasons that weather that they never really been endured. You know, they now when they going south and coming out, and they in them cold water, that current is it's chilly. It's we don't get this up there. You know, they're like, you know, you go up north, you be like, so man, we don't get this kind of weather down in Texas, man. It's too cold. The same thing they had to be going through these things too. That's probably when they hit Florida, they probably were like, ooh, boy. Probably was beautiful in the mud at that time. Read
verse 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Osiris.
Osiris. And I'm gonna show y'all later on that that's two different places. So I heard one dude on the face, but now that's the same thing. That's Syria, right? No, it ain't. It's two different places. Osiris. This is that new land. This is what we call America today. So that was the original name for it. The Most High gave him a name. He said the place they weren't gonna go, and he already had a name for it. So they already knew a name for a place that no man had ever dwelt. So the Most High planned this whole thing.
And this is a key pivotal chapter that lets us know how we know that the Issachars, the Native Americans, are a part of the Israelites.
That's right.
You know, without this, it wouldn't be no history, but they should be praising the Most High God that this is in that book. That identifies them as the Israelites. Because we know one nobody on this side of the world but them. Go ahead,
And it didn't come with that, what they call that,
the Barren Strait.
The Barren Strait. No, that's false there. Now, that we gave y'all the history in that chapter, now give me 1 Kings, chapter 12, and start at verse 2.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 12, and verse 2. And it came to pass when Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of King Solomon.
Okay, no, stop right there. This is at that time when the kingdom was about to begin to start dividing. Hold what you got right there and go to 1 Kings 11 and 26. We're going to see why Jeroboam was ready to flee at this time, because he was starting to agree with these other nations. Like, so when King Solomon heard it, King Solomon like, shoot, I'm gonna kill that man. So he fled into Egypt. He took off running from King Solomon, and he was one of King Solomon's top men. Read
the book of 1 Kings, chapter 11 and verse 26. And Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and Ephite of Zeredah, Solomon's servant, whose mother's name was Zeruiah, a widow woman, even he lifted up his hand against the king.
Okay, yeah. See, he lifted up hands. Go to 31.
Verse 31. And he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces, for thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel. Behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon.
Now, this was a prophet who came to Jeroboam, and he had prophesied. He had told him the prophecy about the kingdom going leaving Solomon, because Solomon had sinned. and it was told that he was going to lose his kingdom. So he told him the prophecy of him losing his kingdom, and he couldn't even be patient enough and wait for the kingdom. So he saw, let me get rid of Solomon right now. If I get rid of him now, I'm king. Because this is how my people, you tell them a little something, yeah, you're gonna be, oh man, let me go ahead and make that happen. And this is what he was doing. So when he decided he started coming against Solomon, so then the king rises up against him and he take out running. He wasn't as hard as he thought he was. All right, go to 40.
Read that out.
Okay,
and I will give 10 tribes to thee.
10 tribes, the northern kingdom. Those same 10 tribes that we just read about in the other part right there. Read.
Verse 32. But he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel.
Praise, man. Go to 40.
Verse 40. Solomon sought therefore to kill Jeroboam, and Jeroboam arose and fled into Egypt.
Now this is why he was in Egypt. He fled, and this is how he got there, because of what his rebellion against Solomon. Now we can go back to where we was at in First Kings.
First Kings,
chapter 2 and
12. The book of First Kings, chapter 12, verse 2. And it came to pass when Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of King Solomon, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt, that they sent and called him, and Jeroboam and all the congregation of Israel came and spake unto Rehoboam, saying, thy father I grievous.
Rehoboam at this time, Rehoboam was the king of the southern kingdom, and you had the king of the northern kingdom. Rehoboam was under Solomon. They was in the house of David. They was in that kingdom at the time. Jeroboam at this time, he done burn out. He's over in Egypt now. Now he heard Solomon is dead. So now he decides, okay, well, let me go back and speak to Rehoboam. Because now I don't fear no more. You know, that Solomon gone, he ain't have to get me no more. So now he's want to go back and speak to Rehoboam.
Verse 4. Thy father made I yoke grievous. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father and his heavy yoke, which he put upon us lighter, and we will serve thee. Verse 5.
But let me explain that. What's going on here? He's saying, look, Solomon had us taxing us everything, man. It was giving all our money. We were doing a lot of stuff. You got to understand, they had a lot of money too. Because we were just reading about the issue of them. They had money up there. And Solomon was taxing a lot of them. Remember, Solomon was building the temple also. So he was taking more money. He was like, hey, raising up the taxes. And then he was crying and complaining. Man, this mother here, he just talking us out. He got us doing this and then some of that. Some of them he had put on to build this temple also. So they was crying about this. And he was saying, hey, make this, now that your father gone, can you make everything a little lighter and be cool with us? You know what I'm saying? And then we're going to go ahead and see what he said, what was going on, what he said about this.
Verse 5, and he said unto them, depart ye for 3 days.
He said, leave 3 days now so he can think about it. You know, hey, man, give me 3 days to think about this. Read.
Then come again to me, and the people departed. And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men that stood before Solomon his father, while he yet lived, and said, how do ye advise that I may answer this people? And they spake unto him, saying, if thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and will serve them and answer them and speak good words to them, then they will be thy servants forever.
All right, now look, he's just asking them, hey, if you do good to him, I want to get that. Because when you go to Chronicles, it's just telling you everything about the kings that was happening at the kings of Jerusalem. That when you read Kings, go into Chronicles, it verifies and gives you a little more information about the kings of Israel. Now I want to go to on that verse 7. I want to get a better understanding of what they said right there.
Hold on before you go. Now, at that time when Rehoboam went to consult with the older men, he didn't take it upon himself to make a decision by himself. What he sought counsel in that whole thing. that's something that our people fail to realize too. You know, being in different camps, you understand you don't make counsel by yourself. You always consult with the men that's higher up or got more knowledge than you or the elders. You always consult with other people. You just don't go make decisions by yourself. That's how you can stop yourself from falling into mischief.
And that's a good point, because guess what? Rehoboam, he sought the counsel of the younger of his friends.
That's right.
First he went to the older man.
Yeah, first and then
he go back and split. Then he was like, I don't like what they said. Let me go to my homeboy. Give me 2 Chronicles 10:7. And I just want to use this right here to give you a better understanding of what it just read in that verse there.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 10 and verse 2, verse 7. And they spake unto him, saying, if thou be kind to this people.
Now, instead of saying where we had got the idea that it says servant, it was saying being kind to these people. Read.
And please them, and speak good words to them. They will be thy servants forever.
That means just treat them like your brother, because that's what they are. You know what I'm saying? And he was like that. We were treating them like we were doing some niggerish stuff. Our people, we can't always think that everything we were doing was just great back then. We was doing some wicked stuff. And now we want to be so proud, and we still ain't done nothing yet. But that's why we need to get back to these law, statutes, and commandments. And that's all I wanted. We can go back, because you can read that same story here as well as you can read it in Kings. It's the same thing. It just gives you a little more understanding. To go back to 7, 12, and go to 8.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 12 and verse 8. But he forsook the counsel of the old men.
He didn't want to do nothing to the old men. He was like, man, I don't know. That made it sound too easy. That sounded too easy, too good. That was too much of a good thing. Read. That was wise counsel he refused. Read.
Which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him, and which stood before him.
He said, because he consulted, he forget that. I'm gonna go to my homeboys, the ones that grew up with me, my homies. That's what he went to. The people his age, you know what I'm saying? Instead of the older men that have been through the other kingdoms, that been through the other things.
That have experience.
Exactly.
That's the whole thing.
It's the same people that know just as much as you do.
Mm-hmm. More or even more.
I'm talking about him when he went to his homeboys. They got just as much knowledge as you do.
He wanted somebody to think like him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Verse 9. And he said unto them, what counsel give ye that we may answer this people, who have spoken to me, saying, make the yoke which thy father did put upon us lighter.
Read.
And the young men that were grown up with him spake unto him, saying, thus shalt thou speak unto this people that spake unto thee, saying, thy father made our yoke heavy, but make thou it lighter unto us. Thou shalt thou say unto them, my little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins.
Now think about it. You know, he got counsel from the elders who had experience to gave him wise counsel. Hey, be kind to him. Something that's simple to do. You know, hey, go ahead and listen to them something. When they come to you, listen to them. Something that's simple to do. And he said, they will be your servants forever. Meaning this kingdom gonna always go on forever. That's all he had. The wise men told him this. But his little homeboys, these little youngsters, that's what they talking about. Oh man, get that. Man, make they stuff, man, make it hard on them, man. Just like some little youngsters in the hood we saying. Shoot, man, forget them niggas.
Let's go. That's how we live now. Right now to this day.
Yeah, that's right.
We don't listen to our father, but we'll go out and listen to our friends though.
Yeah, exactly.
We all grew up doing the same thing, man. We listen to our friends, and guess what? Half of us ended up in jail, in trouble, and all kind of mess.
Or just look at it like this: how our society is now because they took the father out the house.
Yep.
To where we didn't have nothing but friends to listen to when we was growing up. You know what I'm saying? So that then you get a destroyed nation like that because we making decisions on our own. Instead of having that older counsel to go lean on and help us make decisions.
The same people. The same. You cannot tell me this is not black people. These are not us. This is us all the way. The more you read this Bible, the more man, you know how many people you be like, man, that's Cheryl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's John, man. That John that just like that, man. He be tripping. You know, you'll find every one of your friends in this Bible. Everybody that you know, all the people around you, all the stories you hear about what's going on up, they's right here in this Bible.
Yeah, that's a little Uzi right there.
All them.
Little Uzi and his partner and all them.
Little Uzi in the Bible, all of them.
Yeah.
Junebug in here, all of them in here. Every last one of them in here. Read.
Verse 11. And now, whereas my father did lay you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father had chastised you with whips, but I would chastise you with scorpions.
And look at the youngsters.
Oh.
Look at the youngsters, boy. Get that, man. He was just hitting you with a whip. He's gonna tear their butt up, you know. Especially when you got, man, imagine. It's like when you young also, and all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, you got a homeboy that go to the league. Like LeBron them, and next thing know, what does homeboys do? They get to doing some stuff. You see them on the news. You know, before you see, you be like, hey, how they get in trouble? Because of the ones they grew up with. They bringing them in. Same thing with them. So we got you're king now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, forget them, man. They just doing all that stuff. They do it, man. I'm telling you, these are they do it, man. These are like right now, like you the leader of the game now, Robo. Forget them niggas. Forget them. This is what's going on. This what was going. Man, I'm trying to tell y'all, man, when you get in this Bible, boy, if you don't see yourself in here, you will read something not in this Bible. Exactly. That's what it is. And the Most High just not open your eyes to see it. Read that. Keep going.
Verse 12. Then Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the third day, as the king had appointed, saying, come to me again the third day.
This is when he's going back to him. Remember, they canceled him before 3 days he had to think about it. Now Jeroboam come back. And he's looking for the answer, what he asked him. Read.
And the king answered the people roughly, and forsook the old men's counsel that they gave him, and spake to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, my father made your yoke heavy, and I will add to your yoke. My father also chastised you with whips, but I would chastise you with scorpions.
Go ahead. Now he's telling them. Now he's telling them what they was all talking about now. Now imagine the elders sitting right there. Because the elders gave him counsel, and then all of a sudden, they looking like, what? That ain't what we told y'all. Man, what is he talking? You know, imagine that. They just told him the wisest thing, and this whole kingdom would have been under peace. But nah, he listened to his homeboy.
Let's give an account, just like when, you know, us being and leaders in church, man, and when we giving brothers and sisters counsel, y'all don't seek the counsel that we give to you. Guess what? You other brothers and sisters that dealing with them, y'all better step back out their way, man, because you don't know what the Most High gonna put on them from not listening.
Sometimes, because it's either you seeking counseling or you seeking attention. Which one is it? We here for counseling, not to give you attention. You know what I'm saying? It's just as simple as that.
Verse 15. Wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for this cause was from the Lord, that he might perform his saying which the Lord spake by Ahijah the Shilonite, by Jeroboam the son of Nebat.
And then a lot of these things, a lot of times we look at our people, and sometimes this is the Most High doing these things because of the promises he had told them back in these Old Testament, back in the earlier days. The Most High says when he's gonna do something, he's gonna do it. It might not be tomorrow, but it's gonna happen. And he'll turn your friend's heart against you because of something that you did, and you're gonna pay for it. You're gonna pay for it. It's gonna come back on you. You're gonna reap what you sow. And this is exactly what we're doing. So sometimes we look at him like, that Negro ain't no good. That's because the Most High made him no good right now. He's doing that because of what you did that was no good. So keep your mouth off people because you done did some bad stuff. So keep your mouth off other people. Because it's coming back on you too. It's coming back. Read.
Verse 16. So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, what portion have we in David?
They trying to figure out, man, where we fit in. where we fit in if y'all gonna take everything for us? How we fit in this whole nation of Israel? That's what he's asking. What we fit in? Wait a minute, how this plan? Y'all just gonna dog us out? If that isn't gonna work, imagine you don't want to get dogged out. Even you cool with somebody, okay, let's be cool, but don't dog me, don't use me. That's what they saying. Don't use.
That's
me.
our people too, man.
Yeah,
we get fed up. Like, look, man, you working me to death, especially on these jobs. All that, look, enough is enough, homeboy. Every time you need some help, you come get me. You don't get no promotions on your job for doing good. You just get extra work added on to your same pay. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that's how people.
And that's the same thing we were doing. Like we be talking about the missile cars and then they always working. Guess what? We was the first one putting them to work hard. We was the first one putting their butt to work. Like shit, them niggas went hard. But yeah, build me a house. A house, pay them their money. Then you talking about build me a storage too. Then I'm gonna pay you. You ain't paying them their money. We just using them. Man, forget you, man. And that's what we doing. We did the same. We were doing the same. We were some wicked brothers ourselves. Put it that way. It's like we some wicked brothers now. So we got some wicked brothers here today. Some of them gonna get it right. Some of them not gonna get it right. So be careful who you listening to. Read.
What portion have we in David? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel, now see to thine own house, David. So Israel departed unto their tents. But as for the children of Israel, which dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. Then King Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was over the tribute, and all Israel stoned him with stones that he died.
Mm-hmm. See, now they rebelling now. When they came to get that money now, and they come to get them taxes, they killed the tax man. So, squash that, man. We gonna send them a message today. They stoned him. I bet that tax man like, wait, what they say, man? They just come and collect. Same thing he been doing for years. He been on this job for years doing the same thing. And here the IRS coming knocking on the door again. They not today. Not today. They started chucking bricks at the man. Stone him, go ahead.
Therefore, King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot to flee to Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, Rehoboam got the hell up out
there.
Just like that.
When they seen that boy, he said, man, no, they rebelling. He said, oh, no.
Come on, man, we got to go to the road, man. We're about to clear, man.
It's just like what's that movie? Color Purple when that man that man hit Oprah Winfrey, that man shut that piano. So
time to go. And that's what he was like. He said, and not only that, you got to understand, the Northern Kingdom had more money than they did. They had more people than they did. They had more weapons than they did. You know what I'm saying? They were great together as one, but now, so time out, man. That's 10 of them. You know what I'm saying? It's just two of us, two nations of us. You got to burn out. I gotta go. Go ahead.
Verse 19. So Israel rebelled against the house of David unto this day.
Unto this day. Israel, and think about it. Boy, the hardest thing you can get somebody from them other nations, boy, to get to this truth, boy. Because you tell Issachar, man, y'all the chosen people. Oh, good, yeah, and they first thing. No, don't do that no more. I can't. They got all this stuff. Even the Jamaicans, not the Jamaicans, I'm sorry. So like the Cubans, you got the Puerto Ricans, boy, them they hard. You be like, man, I'm trying to show y'all where y'all. No, we good with where we are. Santa Maria. I'd rather do that. You know what I'm saying? They love that type of stuff. They love everything. You be like, man, them are the hardest ones. You be like, God, how come I can't just? I'm showing you how you better than what they call. And then they got something.
Then we got to look. They went into captivity before we did. Mm-hmm. So guarantee. Look how brainwashed our people is with white Christ.
Exactly.
So just imagine how brainwashed they is. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to tell you. Go ahead, man.
But it says like in verse 19. So Israel rebelled against the house of David unto this day. I mean, right now,
that's why
day, man.
That's why I'm so hard.
And see, I'm gonna give y'all another thing that y'all didn't know. Like y'all, sometimes y'all look at the picture, y'all thinking that they have a picture of Christ, That's not the picture of Christ. That's the picture of Judas Iscariot, the one that sold Christ out. That's the picture that they have up there. Y'all think that be Christ. That's not Christ. If you look at it and ask them and say, who's that picture? And they'll tell you that's not Christ. Because they think that person will bring you wealth. Look at that, they into all kind of idolatry that we don't know.
Yeah, they are. They in a whole lot of different idolatry. The same way they lied to God when they said they was coming to America. These commandments.
Just get us out of here.
Everything they did start doing rain dancing, smoking peace pipe, and putting up totem poles. Man, God, wait a minute. And God, like, now, what part of the game is this? Y'all just said y'all over here doing that. I mean, sun dance, they had a sun. They went back to doing what they were doing in Egypt. Because think about it. They had gods they meant for everything and every day. Egypt had 360 gods, a god for every day. Right. And they went doing the same thing. Just like when we left out of Egypt, what did we start doing? The same thing that they were doing in Egypt. Right. Let's build us a calf. Yeah, same thing. They were doing the same thing. We both were all the same. We all got the same spirit on us. We do the same thing. That's why sometimes when you look at the Cubans or when you're looking at the Puerto Ricans, there may number of just yellow black folks do the same thing. They women, boy, shoot. I don't know if you ever heard a Puerto Rican woman go off. Just like y'all black women, same old thing. They're just with a different language. We're just getting, and they next do the same thing too. They just like Isaiah 3 and 12. They do the same thing. It's the same people, just they lighter skin. Go into them families. Go and see a Mexican woman go off on somebody. I'm telling you, you'll just be looking at her just trying to figure out what they saying. But you know, that's a black woman like that. That's the same thing.
And when you looking at that's the true fact. Because when you looking at the so-called Judah women, they be out there fighting on the internet. You go to those so-called Issachar page, they be fighting just as much.
The same thing. Over the same stuff. Over the same. And that's what I was telling Jerry about the other day. I was like, because people say how the messengers love white people. Man, I be with them every day. Man, y'all think we don't like white people? Well, they talk about them songs so bad. I be laughing at them. I just sit back and like, oh, them gringos. I wish sometime I could speak Spanish, but boy, that's all I can hear is the white men. And then I hear them Mexican cuss words, and I know them. I know what those are. You know what I'm saying? And they go. I'm like, boy, they can't stand them. And I be like, where your supervisor? And they'll be like, oh, that gringo. And then next thing you know, from gringo it go to Netherlands. I'm like, and then that come back, you over there. You know what I'm saying? But they off on them because they feel the oppression too. Right. And the same way them Puerto Ricans, they was beside themselves. Now they feeling that they feeling the oppression because now what happened when that storm went over there, white people tore their stuff up. Now they see what the white people really think about them. The so-called white man really think about them. Here's your toilet paper. They threw a jump shot. That man threw a jump shot with the paper towel to him.
Yeah, Trump eat big burgers, toss some tissue in the water to him. And then another thing y'all got to understand, man, we can't lie to the Most High. He already know we lying. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Our people lie ourselves out of situation in a minute. Brother, I promise you, man. Mm-hmm. I ain't gonna do it no more. I got you. As soon as you let it make it, man, you be like, I just let this dude make it. And you know what I'm saying? That's what our people do, man. We lie ourselves out of the situations. We can tell you what you want to hear and get up out this situation.
And especially Issachars, and I know the Mother Nation. They be like, I promise. No, you don't.
They lie every day.
Yeah, boy.
Me speak no English. They gonna tell somebody they don't speak no English in that daytime. So they lie every day. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to tell you.
Go ahead, let's get back to that right there.
Yeah, man. Come
We
on.
had yeah, we just finished 20.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 12 and verse 20. And it came to pass when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation and made him king over all Israel.
Now he became the king over Israel, the northern kingdom. Because now they fighting back now. We got our own kingdom now. Go ahead.
There was none.
And also remember, this was prophesied. Also remember, it was prophesied. That's how he tried to get it done earlier, but it's still at his appointed time. And this time now he's the king now. Read.
there was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only.
But the tribe of Judah only. At this time, the tribe of Judah was the Judah and the Benjamites. Go ahead.
Verse 21. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah with the tribe of Benjamin.
See, there you go.
And 184,000 men, which were warriors, to fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam, the son of Solomon. But the word of God came unto Shemaiah, the man of God, saying, Speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and unto all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people.
So right now you got Rehoboam. They finna go fight him, man. Forget this. We finna go tear they butt up. He done went and got him, so he got I got an army now. We finna go fight him. But at the same time, God sent the prophet to come and tell him, "Nah, you're not gonna fight your brother. That's your brother." You know what I'm saying? Nah, I know they trip, but that don't mean you gotta go tripping against them. Read.
Verse 24. Thus saith the Lord, ye shall not go up nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. They hearkened therefore to the word of the Lord, and returned to depart according to the word of the Lord. Then Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim, and dwelled therein, and went out from this, and built Penuel.
Penuel. He said he built Penuel. Now, Penuel was a place that we had already been. In fact, give me Genesis 32 and 30. We'll see what that Penuel means. That's Peniel. That came from our forefather Jacob, and that's what Jacob name was changed to Israel. Do that.
The book of Genesis, chapter 32 and verse 30. And Jacob called the name of that place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face.
Go ahead.
And my life is preserved.
This is at that time. This is when he fought with the angel, and his name was changed from Jacob to Israel. At that time, I just want to show you where the Peniel came from. This is the place he went back and he built this up, and this is where his kingdom started. This is where the northern kingdom started. We on 25. Okay, that was 25. Yeah, go ahead, keep going.
Verse 26. And Jeroboam said in his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. Verse 27. If this people go to the if this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of David, in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Lord, even unto Rehoboam, king of Judah.
Now, the thing about this is, go ahead, keep going, then I'll explain it.
And they shall kill me and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah.
Now, he's saying, man, because the place they had to do the high holy days, you had to go, what, 3 times what? To Jerusalem to keep these high holy days. Now, he's like, man, the kingdom done split. He's like, man, they going to go up to Jerusalem now and do these high holy days with the southern kingdom. They're going to start looking at him now, man. They're going to start turning back and going back to the house of David. So he's looking like, nah, I got to put an end to that. I got to stop that because I can't have them going over to Jerusalem. And they next thing you know, they go back and start listening to what Rehoboam's saying. And then they're going to come out and be ready to kill me. You know what I'm saying? They're going to go back into the nation that they came from. And you got to understand, this is early split. Everybody know what's going on at this time. So it ain't like they just a long period of time like we done been through now. This is like, okay, they know who this is. They know we've been years with these people. Read.
Verse 28, whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem.
See, so what he doing now, he's saying, okay, man, forget that. This is their first and major rebellion going to idolatry because of the simple fact that this man was so jealous and want to keep his kingdom that he's now going to make other gods. So they don't have to go to Jerusalem. I'll make them for you right here.
And see, the thing is, he took counsel again, but with the wrong time, wrong thing.
Yeah. And he's now coming to this when you got it in your heart, but when you want something and you just want to so selfish things come out of you. So when you do selfish things, when you're so selfish, you start doing evil to keep that. You start doing evil. People do this all the time for something they want. Man, think about it. Even when the banks get robbed, that's because there's something they want. And then it's selfishness.
When you start thinking so too much, you start doing God's work for him.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do what God tell you to do and let him do his own.
Yeah, and try to do it.
You start trying to think too far ahead, you're going to miss everything.
That's the same thing Jeroboam did when he had got the prophecy.
Exactly.
He's like, okay, let's make this happen. Man, let God make it happen without you. You ain't got to do nothing. If he says it's going to happen, it's going to happen. That's right. Now go ahead.
Verse 38. Behold, gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. 28. Yeah, 28. Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 gold calves of gold and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold, thy gods, O Israel.
He done brought them 2 new gods. Hey, these are the gods of Israel. Boy, that's wicked in the mud, man. Knowing your whole life, your forefathers on down, been worshiping this God, and just to keep your kingdom, so they won't go over there and rebel on you. Hey, I gave y'all 2 new gods. 2 news. Go ahead.
Which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
Oh, that was a lie. No, that's a lie, right?
Just a lie. He said, I gave y'all 2 new gods. These 2 the ones that brought you out of Egypt. These 2 came out of Egypt. This is what brought you. This the one. These 2 split the Red Sea, and we just did everything. You see it, boy? That's boy. I didn't even get that the first time. That man just lied to me people so well.
Man, I got to expound on that one, man.
Go ahead, man.
That's the reason why y'all see certain people keep their positions in these different camps.
Mm-hmm.
He even got to lie about it. Mm-hmm. Look at man. You done lied to God. Mm-hmm. You lied to your God, man. You got to pay for that, man. You cannot be leading people astray in that thing.
And by him building, then you taking glory away from your God too.
Exactly.
And you glorifying yourself because you telling your people something that you made.
And that's the same thing. Moses get in trouble for that? Exactly. Didn't make it to the promised land for that same very reason.
Do that.
And these is the same golden calves that they made, that Aaron made.
Exactly. When they came out of Egypt.
And guess what? The Most High put thousands of them to death for that. So we know this brother right here wicked as hell for even saying that.
And it's the same. We repeat the same thing. That's the thing about Israel. You do know that when we do get in trouble, it ain't for something we did that's new. It'll be the same thing that our forefathers did. The exact same stuff from history on down to history. The same thing. Don't do that. All right, you get your butt whooped, and guess what? After a while, you're like, sure, I'm gonna go do it. Then you go do the same thing again. You ain't doing nothing new. You're doing the same thing again.
He ain't watching this time.
Yeah. We've been doing the same things. Idolatry. Boy, like today, we just doing, boy, right now, you got cats who want to be in the Illuminati so bad, and it's telling you about the goats, and we'll do anything. We got people killing their own cousins just to get in there. You got people right now worshiping and bowing down, and you can't tell them nothing about this Caesar Borgia. It is on their head, it is in their mind, and you trying to tell them anything but that, they don't want to hear you. And you reading out the Bible, though he black. I don't care what the Bible says. Well, don't even believe nothing. You know what I'm saying? Don't even believe the Caesar Borgia. Because if you ain't gonna believe the Bible, don't believe none of that stuff here. But no, they don't work. They gotta have something they gonna worship. Go ahead.
Verse 29. And he set the one in Bethel, and the other he put in Dan. Verse 30. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before thee, the one, even unto Dan. And he made an house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people.
And where he put these calves at, he put one in Dan. Dan is the northern part of Israel at that time, and then Bethel is the southern part. So that way, everybody, none of them have to leave Israel to go and do their worship. You just go right down to Bethel, to Dan. The ones that's in the southern part of Israel, just go to Bethel. That's why he put 2 of them like that. So they don't even, he made it like, not only that, he made it all convenient for them, you know, hey, I'm gonna make it there. I'm gonna throw y'all an elevator in here, you know, he done gave them everything. So they don't, just to keep his little opposition against the Most High God.
Then they say he made priests of the lowest of people.
Oh yeah. We getting there.
Oh, go ahead.
Verse 31. And he made an house of high places and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi.
He was making anybody priest. Anybody. I mean, the garbage dude going out, you want to be a priest? Yeah, get off that truck, come on. He making anybody. Ain't nobody qualified. Ain't nobody qualified to be in the position. You go to the marriage council, that man ain't even been married. You go to the other marriage counselor, he had 17 divorces. These put everybody out of order. He just started this kingdom without everybody out of order. Read.
Verse 32. And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah.
Now he even coming up with his own feast. He done changed that too. Everything, God. He rebelling. He's boy.
Man, that's America's philosophy, man. That's the same class I just came out with. That's America's philosophy. Look, you just look. He said, "Let's go back, man." One verse, 31. He made a house of high place and made priests. Look at these people, these pastors out here, man. They ain't ordained by God. They ordained by men.
Exactly.
And then they turn around. He making feasts. What just passed? The 4th of July.
Yep.
Come on, man. We don't celebrate those things,
man. And they making them house of high places. That's why you see all these big churches right here. One right across the goddamn water right there, back there. Like, hey, man, what they got to do with anything, man? But let's go.
You know what I'm saying? Our people weren't wearing no Easter suits when they got freed up out of Egypt, man. When they no clown stuff like that, man. That's why I say, man, anything just to make our people spend money, man, and our people don't want to see that. Go ahead, bro.
So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calf that he had made. And he placed in Bethel the priest of the high places which he had made. So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart, and ordained a feast unto the children of Israel. And he offered upon the altar and burnt incense. Chapter 13.
Hold on, that 15th day of the 8th month, that's the 7th month in which we do in the 15th day, which is the Feast of Tabernacle. He just changing everything. Yeah, we were doing it. Guess what? We were doing it in this time. We're gonna do it next month. We were doing that. Nah, we're gonna do 2 of them. But everything that he was just being rebellious all the way around. That's why the Most High was disgusted with the Northern Kingdom at the time. Read.
Chapter 13, verse 1. And behold, there came a man of God out of Judah by the word of the Lord unto Bethel. And Jeroboam stood by the altar to burn incense. And he cried against the altar in the book of 1 Kings, chapter 19 and verse 10. And he said, I have been very jealous for the Lord, God of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thy altars, and slain thy prophets with the sword. And even I only am left, and they seek my life to take it away. Verse 11, and said, go forth and stand upon the mount before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind rent the mountains.
This is the prophet Elijah now at this time. At this time, remember what's her name? Jezebel. She slain 400 of the prophets. She was killing all of them. She was chasing after Elijah now. Because Elijah slaughtered 400 of hers. And they want to kill him. She trying to kill his man. And they was all from the northern tribe. This is the split. They was from Israel. Jezebel was an Israelite in the northern tribe. People don't realize that, but she was. She just refused to repent. She was a harlot, just like we both was. The northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. We both played the harlot. We both play the whore to everybody in the world. Right? We hoard ourselves out, as we are doing today.
And whoring yourself out too. It can be whoring yourself out, taking their philosophies to us.
Exactly.
Right? It's not just a physical.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we taking a philosophy for just to make $1 in this place. That's right. And go ahead.
Verse 11, and he said, go forth and stand upon the mount before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind rent the mountains and break in pieces the rock before the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lord was not in the wind.
No, he wasn't in the wind. Go ahead.
And after the wind, an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 12, and after the earthquake, a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, still a small voice.
Now look,
a still small voice.
And everything's going on, meaning we are going to be tearing ourselves apart. Because God wasn't in the wind to do that. He looking down and saying, they just going to destroy themselves. They going to destroy themselves. They gonna mess around. I ain't got to do nothing. They doing it to themselves. Jump to verse 18.
Verse 18. Yet I have left me 7,000 in Israel, all the knees which have not bowed unto Baal, and every mouth which had not kissed him.
And look, now that we know the kingdom, we looking back at what they were doing. The Most High had a remnant. Most High got a remnant every time. Every time something is destroyed, he got a remnant. When he tore the earth up, there was a remnant. Noah and his family. Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot and his children, because his wife didn't make it. But he always got a remnant. That's like, he ain't like us, man. He ain't gonna just blow all his money and be waiting for the next shit. He always gonna keep something back for the rain. He always got something. And that's exactly what he did with Israel. Not everybody in Israel. A lot of them was sitting there and they was knowing it was going wrong, but they wasn't bowing down to Baal. But they were keeping these laws. And this is some of Israel, the northern kingdom. And let's go to the Deuteronomy 32, 20 and 21. Let's see what this prophesied a long time ago, before all the kings and everything. These one of the curses too.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and 21. They moved. 20. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 20. And he said, I will hide my face from them and will see what their end shall be. For they are a very forward generation.
Remember he was saying, remember I was telling you, he said, I'm gonna hide their face from thee and see what they end gonna be. I remember he was like, hey, he wasn't in that broke them up. They were breaking up themselves. Because they was hating on each other. And they was going against God. So God looking back like they tell themselves, well, I ain't gotta do nothing. That's the same thing he said, go ahead.
Children in whom is no faith. Verse 21, they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and will move them, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation.
With a foolish nation. And everybody see that now. Everybody thinking that foolish nation is America. No. The foolish nation is of their own nation. The other two nations that split, the other foolish nation that he's going to bring them to jealousy on is the northern kingdom. The other foolish nation. That was the foolish nation. They did the fool when they went off and jumped in the other guy. Jeroboam started them off being the fool. Where we at? You at 21? You finished that one? Yeah. Go to, I want to give you on that 20. Give me Romans chapter 10, verse 19. It's gonna give me. It's gonna say some of the same thing. It's gonna verify what the food nation is. What we're gonna get to.
The book of Romans, chapter 10 and verse 19. But I say, did not Israel know? First Moses said, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are not a people, and by a foolish nation, and by
what?
And by a foolish nation.
Foolish nation. Go ahead.
I will anger you.
Now, when we get into the New Testament, and we're talking about provoking and going by a foolish nation and grafted back in, that is with your own nation of people. That is not with everybody in the world and other nations. He's talking about this same foolish nation that he was cursing way back then in Deuteronomy. So when it's talking about this foolish nation in the New Testament, it's still talking about your nation, the nation of Israel, and the split. That's why I'm pulling this out of here, so we'll know what that's talking about and who that's talking about.
Let's read Jeroboam. Read 19 for me again. And give me Isaiah 7 and 8 real quick.
Yeah,
oh, never mind. Go ahead.
You want me to go ahead. No.
I'm gonna keep reading now. But I said, did not Israel know? First Moses said, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are not a people, and by a foolish nation will I anger you. Want me to keep reading?
No, go ahead. I want you to explain something. Go back up there.
Oh, okay.
Jeroboam do that. You do what he just asked you to do.
The book of Romans, chapter 10 and verse 19. But I say, did not Israel know? First Moses said, I will provoke you to them that are no people.
Because Christians will read that and think that that's talking about the other nations. But that has nothing to do with the other nations. Give me Isaiah. Read that up.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 7, verse 8. For the head of Syria is Damascus. Damascus.
So the capital of Syria is Damascus. Read on.
And the head of Damascus is
Rezin.
And within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, that it be not a people.
That it be what?
That it be not a people.
So the Most High had cast off Ephraim from being not a part of Israel anymore. So that's what that scripture is going into. And you also can pull Hosea 1 and 10 to back up that. Go ahead,
And by a foolish nation.
And by what?
By a foolish nation.
The southern tribe, read on.
I will anger you.
It's about foolish nation, that same foolish nation. Because we no longer one nation anymore. We are two nations now. That's right. That same foolish nation is our own people, the northern kingdom. So when y'all seeing that, because this was the Christians think that they try to be slick with this. That's why I wanted to get y'all a very good understanding. So when they coming at y'all know the history on everything now. Right. So when y'all know exactly what they trying to bring. See, that's a foolish. And then we even got some Israelites who will say, that foolish nation is America. No. Although America is a foolish nation, but that ain't the foolish nation it's talking about. Where we at? Okay, go ahead and go to Isaiah 65.
Found the that sought me not. I said, behold me, after their own thoughts.
See, and this time he's talking to the northern kingdom as well as the southern kingdom, because he said he stretched out his hand. This was a nation that he was like, he turned his back on. Then he said, I'm stretching out my hands. This is the prophecy of Isaiah. That's what you get when you go to the New Testament. The prophecy what Isaiah said, he's going to be stretching out his hand back to the northern kingdom. That was not. Because God was like, man, I don't even want to deal with them no more. They ain't my people no more. So, but at the same time, he still had compassion on Israel.
I mean, bro, we always revert, man, let you know that they're my people. I done said that a few times myself, man. They're my peoples, man. I just don't deal with them. You know what I'm saying? We all say that, man. So, I mean, you know, I just that's another. It's all kind of signs to let you know that these are Negroes in this Bible.
Go ahead,
Verse 3: a people that provoked me to anger continually to my.
Man, did Jeroboam do that to the Most High so bad? Did y'all see that? These are the same people he's talking about. Reading
that sacrifice in gardens and burning incense upon altars of brick, which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh, and broth of abominable things is in their vessels.
Yeah, that's going. Let's go to John chapter 4 And nah.
That's even to this day, man.
Mhm.
They're doing the same thing, even to this day.
This Bible is the same story, no matter where you go in it. It's the same book, the same story. And if you're gonna try to go around it and start changing characters, then therefore you have changed the Bible. That's changing somebody's book. This Bible is about the same people. It's the same story. You just got to know how to read the Bible. Exactly. And once you read it and know how to read it, you realize it's the same thing. I mean, all the way from Genesis all the way into Revelation, the same story, no matter what.
That's exactly right, because that's the number one question that we always hear. How can it be one Bible, but it's so many different religions that come out of this Bible? Because for number one, they're not doing nothing that the Bible is telling us to do. They're not following God's instructions, so they're going to have their own interpretations on what the scriptures say and not thus saith the Lord.
And then they pick the parts that they like.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the parts that they don't like. They just leave that out. Now, we don't even come up with that. But we go by the volume of the book. Exactly. We go from the beginning to the end. We got to take the good with the bad. If we know we do wrong, so that stuff going to happen to us too.
The book of John, chapter 4 and verse 9. Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, how is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria?
It says, then said the woman. See, and at this time, I brought this out because I want to show y'all something when we get into the New Testament. Because she's talking about the Jews did not at this time, they didn't deal with the northern kingdom no more. They didn't, it was like, no, they was just other Gentiles in them. They didn't be around, they didn't eat around them. This was all he was talking about when it's coming to when we coming into the New Testament. And then go ahead, where we at?
I'm gonna read it over. Verse 9, the book of John, chapter 4 and verse 9. Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, how is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans.
Hold on, and then he said they don't have no dealings with the Samaritans at all. But let me show y'all something too, because I want to make this point also, because it's other people that was there. Go to give me John 8 and 33. Because I want to show y'all distinguish. It was and I'm gonna show you something about this woman here too when we go back. Go ahead.
The book of John, chapter 8 and verse 33. They answered him, we be Abraham's seed, and were never in bondage.
He said they be Abraham's seed. Read that again.
Verse 33. They answered him, we be Abraham's seed, and were never in bondage to any man.
Now think about that is. Now look, these are the converts that he's talking about. Because he said, we be Abraham's seed, but we were never in bondage. So the children of Israel all been in bondage. So that's letting you know that the ones that is also in this New Testament at this time, those converts. But that's not who we're talking about. Those are the ones that Yahushua was rebuking in there. That was caught up in the higher places. That's Pharisees, converts. Herod was a convert.
The Herodians.
Yeah, they were converts. They'd never been under slavery. They just was over us by the Roman Empire. They were put over us. See what I'm saying? So now let's go back. I just want to distinguish with different people that's going on in this New Testament now that people try to override.
Isolate.
Yeah. And then go to that was 9. Go to 11. 4 and 11.
4 and 11. Let me pull this one. Jeremiah, give me Isaiah, because we want to hit this home real quick. Give me Isaiah 7 and 9 right quick. Because when they hear Samaritan, man, they just think, they think not Israel. But let me home this home right quick.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 7 and verse 9. And the head of Ephraim is Samaria.
Read that again.
And the head of Ephraim is Samaria.
The capital of Ephraim is Samaria. That's what the head is. That's what the capital of Ephraim was. Ephraim is the leader of the 10 tribes. So that's the precept that goes to that to let you know that sister that he was dealing with was an Israelite. Right. Go ahead, up.
And the head of Samaria is Remah Allah, son. If ye will not believe, surely ye shall not be established.
And people try to make that out to be like a different place. Samaria was in the northern kingdom in the first place.
Exactly.
So they were living there. That's like they were all over that the northern kingdom. So all of a sudden, people done changed these people to make them somebody else. The Samaritan was Israelites from the beginning. Because when that was like that's when they land. When we keep the other kingdoms out of there, Samaria was it was Israel. It was always Israel. So when you see Samaritan and some of these other names like this, those were always Israelites. But people, as soon as they see another name, they want to change the people. No, the people are still the same people. Go ahead.
The book of John, chapter 4, verse 11. The woman said unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water? Let me read that again. The woman said unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water? Verse 12. Art thou greater than our father Jacob?
Art thou what?
Art thou greater than our father Jacob?
Who was Jacob the father? The 12 tribes of Israel. So this woman is showing you, it says she's from Samaria, but she's of the 12 tribes of Israel. And then, like she said, she's from the northern kingdom. They explaining that she is from the northern kingdom. When he's speaking to her, this is not another stranger from somebody from the Philistines or something. These are the northern kingdom. And she's letting you know, our father was Jacob. Like these other converts said, what? We never been in slavery. Letting you know that they wasn't a part of the Israelites. But this woman, she was an Israelite.
And the reason she said that, when we jump back up to verse 9, then said the woman of Samaria unto him, how is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaritan? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. Exactly. At a point of time, the Most High cast them off, so they wasn't even dealing with the northern kingdom. It was against God's laws for them to even deal with them. So that's why she said that. Because a lot of people a lot of Christians like to throw that in there too. But we ain't having it up in here, man. Give me what you want, verse 12.
Let me get a precept on what Ak was saying. Let me get Isaiah 63 and 16. This right here, precepts on what Ak saying.
63 and who?
16.
I got it, Mark.
You got it? The book of Isaiah, chapter 63 and verse 12. That led them by the right hand of Moses.
63, verse 16.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 63 and verse 16. Doubtless thou art our father. Though Abraham be ignorant of us, and Israel acknowledge us not.
Acknowledge us what?
Acknowledge us not.
Read on.
Thou, O Lord, art our Father, our Redeemer. Thy name is from everlasting.
That's why she knew who her forefathers was, but they never acknowledged each other in this split. She knew who her people was. That's why she can go back. But she's like, dang, y'all not dealing with us. But she knew who her forefathers was. Just like if she'd have asked them, well, who is your forefather? Why she didn't ask Christ who your forefathers are?
And she grew up when the split has been long going on to the point where when she learning, that was just another nation. That was another nation of people.
Right.
That's how that's when we first got in this is when it first started. Now we're way in the New Testament when she's speaking. So they done lived years after years, thousands of years, believing that's just another nation.
Yeah. Give me verse 19 on it, 63. Give me verse 19. Because like I said, they was thinking they was another people. And they was like, oh man, these people is different from us. Read verse 19.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 63 and verse 19. We are thine.
We are who?
We are thine.
Read on.
thou never bearest rule
See,
over
now
them.
they think that God never bear rule over them. It's like we got two different gods. Read on.
They were not called by thy name.
But we know that we called by that name, but they was like, no, we're not called by that name, by his name. But we are the firstborn. We just called by his name.
Right.
The book of John, chapter 4 and verse 12. Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well and drank thereof himself and his children and his cattle?
That's it on that. Then go to drop down to 21 right quick.
Verse 21. Jesus said unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain let me read that over. Verse 21. Jesus said unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. Ye worship ye know not what. We know what we worship.
See, they worship, and he's telling them straight off the top, you worship, but y'all don't know what y'all worship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all got two different calves, y'all got bulls over there. Y'all just worshiping stuff. We know who we worship because they are now at this time distant from their God. They don't believe in the God of Judah. Because they like, man, they sitting back, they've been living thousands of years with their own gods, thinking that they're surviving off these false gods. And he's saying, man, y'all come up here to be worshiping. Y'all don't even know what y'all worship. I've been making fun. I've been like, so did you come up here to worship the calf or the bull? Because y'all are the son, whichever one, because they got so many.
Yeah, and that goes back into the precept that I pulled. It said that thou never bears rule over them. Like we never had y'all God. Who is y'all God?
We do today.
Yeah.
The same thing today.
And this is also a simpler way, and that's really a good precept right there. That's also a simpler way because people love to ask, well, how can you tell the difference between a real Gentile and an Israelite Gentile, as we say? Well, we know if you read in context, if it's talking about salvation, we know that in a Gentile, how can I put this? If it's talking about salvation for the Gentiles, it's talking about Israelites. Yeah. But if it's talking about destruction, it's talking about the other nations.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And we were Gentile in a Gentile state of mind, not never was a Gentile as other nation.
Yeah.
Verse 23.
No, that's all we need on that one. And go to we already went to go to Matthew 12 and 21.
So that's why we say, man, you got to be taught this Bible, man. It's for all the viewers. Got to have somebody teach you this Bible. You can't just open it up and think you're going to get it.
The book of Matthew, chapter
12 and 21. That's when I knocked this little piece out of it.
The book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 21. And in his name shall the Gentiles trust.
He said, in his name shall the Gentiles trust. In the name of Yahushua. This name the Gentiles going to trust. Then this is in this telling you about what's going to become of Paul's kingdom. When Paul do come, not Paul's kingdom, but Paul's ministry. It's letting you know this is going to be coming. He's going to be going to the Gentile because Yahushua, his mission wasn't coming to go into the Gentiles for the Gentiles. His mission was coming to the southern kingdom and giving what he had to give to them. After him came an induction of the northern kingdom back in. That's what we're going to get grafted back in. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But Yahushua, he wasn't, that's why he said, don't go into the ways of the Gentile. I'm teaching my people because you're my firstborn before. Like he said, Judah got to raise up first. Then Judah goes out and teaches people. These are all through these scriptures. We'll get that. I can't get to it. I don't want to waste a lot of time, but
verse 21.
No. Go to John 7. I just wanted that to get that out right there. Go to John 7 and 35.
And that was a good precept to bring up what we were just talking about. Because people will read that and think that's actually talking about Gentiles of the other nations, but that's actually talking about us because it's talking about in the salvation context. John, what?
7:35.
Yeah, the people in this room, he came and got out of the Gentile state of mind. We was in a Gentile state of mind before we opened our eyes up to this truth.
The book of John, chapter 7 and verse 21. Jesus answered and said unto them, I have done one work. And
no, 7:35.
Oh, the book of John, chapter 7 and verse 35. Then said the Jews among themselves, whether where he go, that we shall not find him. Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles?
And teach the Gentiles. And he already told this lady about herself. And this was the northern kingdom. So he is not talking about going into these other nations to be talking about teaching the Gentiles. This is talking about him getting scattered with his other people that's in the Gentile state of mind. They know the difference between the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. The Judah know that they was part of them at this time. Not that young girl. These are elders. They know what was going on. But at the same time, they trying to figure out what is he doing? What's going on here? He says going into the dispersed among the Gentiles. Because among the Gentiles was the northern kingdom. And the people who wasn't keeping God's laws, but they was part of Israel though.
Exactly. And it goes back to the curses. Each time we break God's laws, he sends us into slavery amongst the other nations. So that means we were scattered all over the world, all over.
Let's go to Acts 9 and 15.
The book of Acts, chapter 9 and verse 15. But the Lord said unto him, go thy way, for he is a chosen vessel unto me to bear my name before the Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel.
And that's talking about, he's talking this to Paul and Peter. This now I done did what I did. This is after the resurrection of the Most High. I done did what I did now. Now y'all go get the northern kingdom. I came for the southern kingdom. See, people think man, you got to understand what's going on in this Bible. That's why he was talking about against the Samaritan woman. Says she don't know what she worshiping. Y'all, it's gonna be a day y'all ain't gonna be. It ain't gonna be no place here for you to be worshiping. See, and he tells them salvation is for the Jews. The grafting ain't gonna come after he goes on that cross and gets off to shed his blood. Then he grafting the other nations in. But Judah has to do this first. Same way like Jeroboam always say, we need to make sure we go back and we talking to our other people in the other nations because we can't get out of here without them.
They the bigger piece.
So y'all can talk about them all day long. They ain't Israel. Y'all, well, you look, I'm gonna wake them up because you can tell, you can run your mouth about who Israel and who not. I'm gonna go wake them up because we can't leave here unless we bring them with us. Unless we wake them up too.
Right.
So if you sitting around, I don't think them Cubans, no, I don't. Then you be wondering why you're gonna be still sitting in that place talking about, man, I don't even understand why we still in slavery. Because
that's what it's gonna be. If we don't wake the northern kingdom,
we gotta go get them.
We're gonna be sitting and teaching in captivity forever.
Where we at?
Verse 16.
No, go to Romans 11 and 3. 11:13.
The book of Romans, chapter 11 and verse 13. For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office.
He's speaking to the northern kingdom here, the Gentiles now. Like he was telling him to go to the Gentile, but not all nations. The northern kingdom Gentile. And we done learned how they done broke off. And see, the Christians don't want to bring up that old part of the text. They try to talk to you about that new part, but they don't. You got to go know the history of what went on to know what they're talking about here. If you don't know that, then you're going to be off when you go into this book on this. And that's where you get Christianity. They do that because because when the white man came out with that Christianity, he had to delete the Old Testament. Because the Old Testament explained too much of what's going on right here. And I can't get my laws. I can't do my good lives. If they're gonna keep bringing up the Old Testament. Where the prophets are back. And guess what? We're gonna give you the volume of the book. And we're gonna go from the beginning and let you know what's going on, that bull crap you was taught. Now you go back and reteach yourself. But this time when you go through the New Testament, you got to understand the Old Testament.
Right.
So that's what they taught us in them churches. They done went through, all they did was go through us in church, went through all the Old Testament, and we were just like, hey, hallelujah. But we don't know the contents because we didn't ever learn the Old Testament. They didn't give us that. So now you as an Israelite, now you go, he said, bethink yourself. Remember the days of old. So we got to go back to the days of old. Now we get an understanding of what this talking about in the New Testament. You understand? All praise it. Where we at?
Verse 14.
No. I need Isaiah 41, 8, 9.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 41 and verse 8. But thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend.
We're the only friends of the Most High. Y'all know that? We're the only one that he called us friend. We're the only one that's been called friend. Read.
Verse 9. Thou whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the chief men thereof, and said unto thee, thou art my servant. I have chosen thee, and not cast thee away.
The Most High haven't cast none of us away. That's why it's very important that even though Judah, you can't, and we're going to get to that too, why the northern kingdom got to come. Because if he got to cut them off, guess what he got to do? Cut off Judah too. Because Judah did the same thing. So we don't want them to make it, guess what? We ain't making it either. So that's why he said, I got to go get them too. I got to go bring the whole tree. I can't just bring a piece of it. I can't go get off the broken branch and be bringing like, I got something. No, And just like the broken branches can't be broken off the tree, like this what grafted in. And we're going to get to this in a second. Where we at? Give me 9. Go ahead. Go to 9.
Verse 10.
No. Well, that's all I need on that then. All right. Well, go give me Romans 11 and 1. Let's start getting into some of this stuff.
The book of Romans, chapter 11 and verse 1. I say then, had God cast away his people?
It's the same thing that came up again. I say then, had God cast away his people? Have God cast away the Israelites? Have God cast away the northern kingdom? Have God cast away the southern kingdom? Read.
God forbid.
No, not at all. Read. Go ahead.
For I also am an Israelite.
Because Paul is an Israelite, and he's talking to the conversation with this. He's talking to other Israelites. He's talking to the northern kingdom. When he's saying this, he's talking to the Gentiles. He said, no, I'm one. He ain't cut off his people. I'm one. They going like, yeah, they started being holy than that. Well, I got that too. They be holy than that. And that's exactly how they are now today. Thinking that they better than us because they got a little island that they living off of, and they still running to America. Same Babylon. They got a whole country over there. They steady running to Babylon. That's us, man. We'll get to that. Keep going. No, that was it on that one. I want to go down to 17. Drop down to 17.
Verse 17. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them.
Hold on, start at 16.
Verse 16. For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy.
No, better yet, start at 15.
Verse 15. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world.
Remember, we've been talking about the people cast away, right? Now we reconciling them. You can't reconcile if you ain't never been a part of. You can't be, if you ain't never been a part of something, how can I reconcile? How can I bring you back to something if you ain't never been there? You can't go back. I ain't never been there. They're like me right now saying, "Boy, I can't wait till I go back to China." I ain't never been there. So I got that whole sentence got to change. I can't wait till I go to China. But if I've been there, then I can go back. That's exactly what he's saying. He's got to reconcile you. So he can't reconcile nothing if you ain't never been part of that.
In that world, that's Israel. That's the world of Israel, not the world of the whole world.
And we still, go ahead.
What shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead?
Because they was dead. Just like we was dead. Just like a lot of our brothers and sisters are dead now. We came into this truth. Now our eyes are open.
That's the life.
That's life. This is life.
Right.
Well, it ain't the kind of life we thought, but guess what? This is the life the Most High talking about, and this is going to get greater every time. The more you learn in this life, it's going to get better to you. Read.
Verse 16, for if the first fruits be holy, the lump is also holy.
See, then if the first fruits be holy, the lumps of it also going to be holy. So just because they was cut out, and if we call it ourselves holy, guess what? They holy too. The northern kingdom holy too, because they came from the same tree we came from. They came from the same lump that we came from. They are holy too. This is why they have to be grafted back in, because this tree can't make it without that. It's all the same tree. It's got to grow together. And this is exactly what we're doing as a nation of people, bringing our people back together. Read
verse 17. And if
16,
verse 16, for if the first fruits be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches.
So are the branches. So are the branches. So that means if them branches fall off, they need to get back on this tree. That's what it is when he's talking after them. We're going to get that definition for you too.
And I ain't trying to go on the corner of my state, but if y'all ever seen the movie of Karate Kid, how when the tree was split in half, Mr. Miyagi, what he do? He put it together and he wrapped them together. And then like the roots made what? The tree grow together.
That's right.
When it made it grow together, he took the wrap off of it and the tree was treated right back home.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, hold on.
Verse 17.
Yeah, but before go give me verse 17.
You want the definition?
No, go ahead and give me verse 17. We'll get there.
Verse 17. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou, being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them, and with them partakers of the root and fatness of the olive tree.
Okay, now stop there. Now read that definition of graft.
This is the definition of graft, a shot or twig inserted into a slit on the trunk or stem of a living plant from which it receives sap.
So now, sap is protection of a tree. That's what a tree does. When you dig into it, the sap spills out to protect the hole. That's what it does. Now, you got a tree. This is the olive tree right here. If you got a branch that breaks off this tree, remember he said the root, the leaves and the stems are holy too also. So when they break off, what you do when you bring them back, there's a hole in the tree, or you put a hole in the tree. You take that and you stick that in that hole. The sap comes down and give protection to that broken off branch. That branch begins to grow as the tree grows.
Right.
But it doesn't do that with every other kind of thing. If you put it back on this tree, you don't take the olive branch and go put it on the orange tree and expect that it's going to just be going olive straight out of the orange tree. You take the olive branch and you put it back on the olive tree, and the tree grows as a whole.
Matter of fact, we got a precept for that. Give me James chapter 3, verse 12. Because that's the same thing James is saying here. Because the other nations, they was never a part of Israel. So even by default, they can't naturally come back into us. They were never a part of us.
The book of James, chapter 3 and verse 12. Can the fig tree, my brethren, bear olive berries?
So James is letting us know, can a fig tree bear olive berries? No, they cannot. It has to be a fig tree bearing fig berries. Read on.
Either a vine, either a vine, figs.
Or either a vine, can a vine bear figs? No, they have to all be on one accord. They all have to be the same. Read on.
So can no foundation both
No fountain.
So can no fountain both yield salt water and fresh.
So that's letting you know, they have to be the same. They have to be the same olive tree. It can't be like Matt was saying, a fig tree and an olive tree, a grapevine and a peach tree.
Mm-hmm.
It have to be the same.
Go to hold at Romans 11 and 17. Go to Ezekiel 36 and 8.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 30, we say 37 and 8.
36.
36 and 8. But ye, O mountains of Israel, ye shall shoot forth your branches and yield your fruit to my people of Israel, for they are at hand to come.
He's saying the branches, Israel is going to shoot forth his branches. The people of who? Israel, not the whole world. This tree is for Israel. This tree is Israel. What's that movie with them tall looking
trees
people? Avatar. That tree. Y'all remember the big tree of life? That was the same. Man, they was showing us everything that we get come off of this tree. Our life comes off of this tree.
Who you think the movie is talking about?
So you think we want to go ahead and put these other nations in here? And then them mothers mess around, next thing we know, got a tree full of poison ivy. You see what I'm saying? We know what this fruit bears. Even though we did some rotten things, we don't have something that are rotten out, they fall right off the tree. But the righteous look beautiful up there. They made for the picking. God can pick his fruit out. The rotten will just fall to the earth. We know we got rotten people in the nation of Israel, but we don't got no other fruit. You know what I'm saying? That's on this tree.
That's right.
Something wrong if we looked up there, man. I'm eating an orange, they eat out the same tree every day. Then I go there one day and it's a lemon. Oh, that's not, I must be at the wrong tree. Where we at?
Romans 11.
Yeah, we just finished that out.
17.
Did
We're going to go to 18. Yeah, we finished 17 now.
No, I'm talking about did we finish that precept out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go to 18.
The book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 18. Boast not against the branches.
Oh, no. Go ahead, say that again.
Boast not against the branches. But if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee.
See, and that's one thing we do. Boy, we love to talk about the other people. Boast not against these branches. And if I ain't mistaken, go to Jeremiah 11 and 16.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 11 and verse 16. The Lord called thy name a green olive tree, fair and of goodly fruit, with the noise of a great tumult. He had kindled fire upon it, and the branches of it are broken.
That's why the branches be broken, because look, we be boasting against one another. We got jealous, they got jealous of us, we got jealous of them, and we keep breaking them off. But we don't have to graft them things back in. We got to graft these our other nation back in, the Northern Kingdom back in. We got to, because we got to flourish as a plant. We got to flourish as a tree.
And if you want to plant to grow, you got to show it love.
Exactly.
You can't just plant the tree and then just don't go out there 2 months later and think you're going to have something looking good out there.
You want to help the tree when you talk about your brother, don't talk about them water. Give them water.
That's right.
That's right.
Give them understanding. Give them kindness. Let them know they're a part of this tree.
That's right.
And this tree will grow properly. Especially Judah itself and the southern kingdom. We need to begin with us first. Start loving each other, doing the same thing, watering each other, coming together with each other. Then those other, the northern kingdom would look at it and say, hey, That root done got strong. It's growing. I want to be a part of that root. Oh yeah,
verse 19.
Yeah, go back.
The book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 19. Thou would say then, the branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 20. Well, because of unbelief, they were broken off.
Mm-hmm.
And thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear.
It said, go back to verse 20.
Verse 20. Well, because of unbelief.
Because of what?
Because of unbelief. They were broken off.
That's why it was broken, because the unbelief, man. When Ak was bringing that out earlier, man, they made 2 calves. And he said, man, you know what? I'm going to break y'all off, man. That's why he broke them off.
Yeah.
Read on.
And thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear.
But what?
But fear.
And what it says, be not high-minded. Well, we be thinking ourselves to be so great when we just ain't did nothing. Niggas be in the hood, like, look at the rappers. Boy, them ones got millions and millions of dollars, and I know you live down the street. You ain't got none of that money. We like to be high-minded, think ourselves more greater than what we are.
That's right.
We could have just played football when we was a little kid. I was tearing everybody up. If everybody was a superstar, then who was the dude that was running over if everybody was a superstar?
10 touchdowns. 10 touchdowns.
All of y'all. Everybody. We always high-minded. We always do.
Yeah, you can look at their Facebook. You know, they get their look, what you call money get in the year. What you call income tax money. Everybody on it. They doing it big, boy. Ain't nobody doing it big too. Guess what? 2 weeks later, guess what? See the repo truck pulling up outside.
Mm-hmm. Doing it small again.
Yeah.
That's like the beginning of the school year when you got them new clothes, boy. You can't tell me nothing. And then you got them same clothes come December in the middle of the school year. Now you just be walking through the school like, you came to the school first day. You were
tough as nails. Huh?
Yeah, you come to December and your mama ain't got you nothing new. You just in there, all leaning. Ain't nobody just smiling. No, none of that. That's what we do. Quit thinking so highly of yourself. Humble yourself down. Humble yourself. That's just, golly. Because a lot of times when you run your mouth about you, now everybody got the big eye on you. They watching, okay. Let's see what they do. As soon as you not doing what you claim that you be doing, guess what? They finna jump all out. That nigga ain't nothing. That nigga be lying, boy, then you the talk of the town.
That boy shoot straight.
Rumors all over the place. And what's so bad about it, they true rumors.
They gonna find something on you.
Go ahead. Where we at?
Verse 20. Verse 21. Yeah. For if God spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee.
He said, if he ain't spared out the natural branches, he shoot. If he ain't gonna deal with us, if he ain't gonna deal with the natural branches that fell off tree, guess what? He ain't gonna deal with y'all neither. Because y'all was about to die a whole lot of times. We was dying anyway. So God's trying to make this tree live right. You got to put the tree, you got to nourish something when you love it. Like when you got something in that garden, you got to nourish that thing. Sometimes you see it about to die, you're like, man, these things turning brown. You go get the water hose, you put more water on it. You're going to do what you got to do to keep that thing going. And that's what the Most High is doing with his tree. Read.
Verse 22, behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of God on them which fail, severity but toward thee, goodness if thou continue in his goodness, otherwise thou also shall be cut off.
Like I said, them rotten apples will fall right up off the tree, and the tree continue to grow. They'll fall right off the rotten. If you're just gonna be rotten on here, I'll cut you off. When you go in the garden and the stuff that's just rotten, you can take, when we used to go to that garden, we take all that little brown dead stuff and you move it all out the way. And all that green growing stuff will start coming up. In fact, it'll eat more because now that dead stuff is not covering it up. Now it can flourish even more. So if you're going to be in this truth and not do the things of the Most High, you be that that's cut off. You be that dead leaf. You be that rotten apple that falls off the tree. But this tree here, it's going to continue to grow. And it's going to flourish because it's going to get watered by the Most High, and that's by this word.
Yeah, that's right. Believe whatever ain't good for that tree is going to be on the ground.
Exactly.
It ain't going to be on the tree.
Yeah.
Verse 23. And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief.
See, if they come back and they start doing the right thing, they'll remain on the tree. They'll get back on the tree. We'll pick that up and graft it back in onto that tree. Read.
Shall be grafted in.
Oh, there you go.
For God is able to graft them in.
Go ahead.
For God is able to graft them in again.
Again. Say that again.
For God is able to graft them in again.
Now, for all you Christians and all these other ones that's running their mouth about everything, again, if they're going to be grafted in again, therefore, shouldn't they have to have been a part of it? That's right. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't they have to have been a part of something to be done again, grafted back in again? The branch that broke it off, wouldn't it have to have been a part of that tree to be grafted back in? Yeah. So what are they talking about? This is the grafting in, not no other nation. He said again, the other nations was never part of this. So how can they come back again? See, I remember that dude on the street. And that's a boy, when he was doing it, I remember you was taking them all, you was taking them there. But you took them along. I just wanted to get to there just to let them know, right here, right there, again. So everything you talking about is dead because it's talking about, again, somebody that was a part of something that was grafted back in again.
That's right. It's just like somebody, when we say, hey, man, I just done. They say, well, do it again.
Mm-hmm.
You just did it one time already. That means it was there before. It was done before. I had to do it again. That is a powerful word out there. Whole thing.
Again. Boy, and I promise you, when you're talking to them, they'll try to go to grafting, but as soon as you hear them go there, so let's go down to 20. Just like three, and it'll tell them again, but then they ask them now.
A better situation where, you know what I'm saying, a child raising his mother or her mother, but she passes away and you have to go deal with your father's family now. You're going to be grafted into their family. You know, you might not know them like you know your mother's side of the family, but you have to be grafted into
that is your family. You was a part of it.
You know what I'm saying? So, exactly. It's just like that.
Exactly.
You got to deal with that every day.
And you better go find your father. That father gonna determine where you gonna be and who you gonna be.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? You be under mama all you want, but you better go find daddy. I don't give a dang what it take. Mama, you better give it up. The information, you need to give it up. Because I need to know. But you know about me, I don't care about your side right now. I need to know what daddy's side is.
It's like that commercial, man. I need my nationality and I need it right
now. That's right. All praise. Go ahead and finish this up, man. On that. Where we at? Grab
24.
Yeah, 24.
Verse 24. If thou were cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree.
He said graft contrary into nature, which is a good olive tree. That means putting back on the branches that fell off. The olive branches, that is. Not the orange and the apples and the pineapples and the bananas. No, none of that. This is the olive tree. This is who he is. This is what he's talking about. Read.
How much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? Verse 25. For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery.
He said, man, I ain't finna have y'all sitting up here being stupid about this. Don't be stupid, Israel. Don't be stupid, you so-called Christian. But Israelites, quit being stupid. He said, I ain't trying to leave you ignorant. He gave you all this information so you can come and understand what's going on. Go ahead.
On conceits that blindness in part is happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in.
He said, hey, don't be blind. You're going to walk around here blind, and that's what they doing now as Christian. They walking around blind. They can't see nothing until the fullness of the Gentiles come in. And then what's so bad about it? They come right in the doors right now, and the Christians don't even see it.
But you're not going to be blind of the mysteries unless you do stuff on your own. That's the only thing that blind you. The Most High law, statutes, and commandments, and His ways, and what you need to be doing.
And they working out their own conceit.
As long as you do what thus says the Lord, you're gonna see everything you need to see.
This is how, like He said, this is how they be blind. When all the laws are done, that's automatic blind. Right then and there, when you
blind, when He come for the whole world, everybody. No, that's blind. And then while they still looking at that, guess what? We're gonna have all the 144,000 from all 12 tribes gonna be lined up. That seal gonna be sealed, and guess what? It's gonna be too late. Right. Go ahead.
Verse 26. And so all Israel shall be saved.
All of who?
All Israel shall be saved.
No, the whole world.
So all Israel shall be
Go
saved.
Ahead.
As it is written.
As it is written. This ain't nothing new. He ain't just said this yesterday. Yeah, I'm gonna say Israel. No, that's all He was gonna say from the beginning. Read.
There shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
For this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sin.
That's Yahweh.
As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sakes, but as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sakes.
He said read that again.
Verse 28, as concerning the gospel.
That's concerning this word, read.
They are enemies for your sake.
See, because they was enemies, they was our enemies for our sake, because they drove us back to the Most High. For being rebellious against us. See, the Most High had a plan what was gonna go on. Every time we made a mistake, He made it okay. Let me get this right. These idiots, I keep giving them the right thing to do, and they keep just running around doing all their own thing. Hold on, let me change, man. And that's what we was doing as a people. And now that's what He's saying, man. Look, he's going right back. He said, as concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sake. Your own people was enemies for our sake. Our own people. Because they drove us to jealousy. Now we want our God. Now we need our God. We the children of Israel. You know what I'm saying? We so jealous now. Y'all ain't. No. We do the same thing today. Them Mexicans ain't no Israelites. Look on Facebook. I promise you, go in there today. Somebody saying that right now. Them Cubans ain't too light skinned. I heard somebody say a light skinned people ain't Israelites.
Okay. Well, the one saying that. What they got to say about what's happening right now to the Mexicans?
Exactly. Going through the same curse.
Going through the same. What can they say about them?
29. For the gifts and calling of God are without repentance.
He said they seeing it this time. He said the gifts and calling of God without repentance. Because the Most High God, just like a lot of us do. That's why you see Israelites out here still doing great things, but they ain't repented. They don't even know. They don't want it. Some of them don't even believe the truth, but yes, they still got the gifts of the Most High. Sometimes you see them where they still see stuff. That's why you see some pastors doing some work. She be like, hey, he's doing some work because God still got His gifts on those people without repenting. They hadn't repented, but they still got God's gifts. They don't even know why they're working in those gifts, but they still are on those people. Some people don't know yet who they are and find out later. You'd be wondering why you got those gifts. Yeah, you probably with Elijah. You never know. Just took you a long time to come to your right mind and come to who you are. Well, read.
Verse 30. For as ye in times past have not believed God, yet have now obtained mercy through their unbelief, even so have these also now not believed, that through your mercy they also may obtain mercy.
And see, through the mercy that He gave to the southern kingdom, they was able to obtain mercy. He gave mercy to the ones that didn't believe. That was the northern kingdom, because they had stopped believing. That's why we started all the way back there at the beginning. So this is what it's talking about now. Go ahead.
Verse 32, for God had concluded them all in unbelief, that He might have mercy upon all.
On all. So He made it where everybody went through. The northern kingdom and the southern kingdom went through some unbelief for the Most High God. So if we got to be able to come back, and guess what? You got to allow them to come back. That's just and fair. We can't be saying, hey, we want to get it, but then we done did the same thing they did, but we don't want them to get in. That means you just a wicked, selfish Negro. And you was wicked too? Nah, I don't want them coming in. Nigga, you was at the same dope house he was.
While you talking about who you don't want and who you want to come in, you better make sure you get in.
No doubt. That was it. I'll never know. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's get to let me get 1 Corinthians 12 and 2.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 12 and verse 2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles.
Go there. Say that again.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led.
Hold on, go. You got to start at verse 1. When
you
get there,
Verse 1. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I will not have you ignorant.
And he said concerning spiritual gifts. God and this spiritual gift was only given to the Israelites. And we already established Paul then came and did what? For the Gentile.
Mm-hmm.
So as he talking about is the northern kingdom. Go ahead.
Because you got to say this word too out of it. He said, now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren. Yeah. Who is our brothers?
The other nations. I mean, not the other nations, the other tribes of Israel. Right. So I would not have Edomite my brother. Boy.
Verse 12, ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols.
Word Gentile. Now, if you're a Gentile, you just a Gentile. So how were these people were Gentiles? That means they came out of being a Gentile. Because Gentiles, God called them, they just Gentiles, period. But these people were, meaning they had came out of it. And if they came out of being a Gentile, where are they going to go back into? The nation of Israel. And the only way they can get back there because they had been a part of that. So they were Gentiles, meaning they were just in the state of mind of that. Now they coming out of that. That's what Paul came for them for. Yahweh came for the southern kingdom. Paul came for the northern kingdom. And grafting them back in. Because he know also. And Yahweh was already stated. We can't go at all until we bring them all back in. That's what the scripture's been telling us all day. Read.
Verse 3. Wherefore I
don't need 3. Go to Isaiah 10 and 20.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 10 and verse 20. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel and such are as escaped of the house of Jacob shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, in truth.
In truth. That's all of it. They said, well, they that worship them must worship in spirit and in truth. So we got to come back with him. This is a foretold prophecy. So if we believe in prophecy, we must believe that this got to come back with all of us. Read.
Verse 21, the remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob unto the mighty God.
Unto the mighty God. And we are the remnant now, waking up and coming back to God's law, statutes, and commandments. We shall return back to our God. And this is what we're doing today. Go ahead, keep going.
Verse 22, for though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return.
Only a remnant of them shall return.
The consumption decreed shall overflow with righteousness. For the Lord God of hosts shall make a consumption, even determined in the midst of all the land. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God of hosts, O my people that dwelleth in Zion, be not afraid of the Assyrians.
Oh man, hold on. Be not afraid of the Assyrians. I was bringing this out because what? Who are the ones that got what kingdom got captured by the Syrians? The northern kingdom. The northern kingdom. Where?
He shall smite thee with a rod, and shall lift up his staff against thee, after the manner of Egypt.
Go ahead.
For yet a very little while, and the indignation shall cease, and my anger in their destruction. And the Lord of hosts shall stir up a scourge for him, according to the slaughter of Midian.
He said his anger don't cease for the northern kingdom. Because at first, when he first was mad at him, he was like, man, forget them, man. No, I ain't dealing with them no more. Turning my back on them. But he's saying right there, it's silly. His anger is going to cease at this time for the northern kingdom. This is when you go into the New Testament where he's grafting back in. Because now his anger ceased. Now he's giving him, hey, y'all can come back. Y'all can come back at this time. Go ahead.
Verse 26, and the Lord of hosts shall stir up a scourge for him, according to the slaughter of Midian at the rock of Oreb. And as his rod was upon the sea, so shall he lift it up after the manner of Egypt. Verse 27, and it shall come to pass in that day that his burden shall be taken away from off thy shoulder, and his yoke from off thy neck, and the yoke shall be destroyed because of the anointing.
The anointing, who was the anointing? Yahweh. After that, that's what he's saying. After that, I'm going to take that burden off of them now. I'm not forgetting them no more. I'm going to bring them back in. That's what we get back in at this. And let's go to here in a little bit. Isaiah 11:1. Let's go to right there and let's drop down.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 11, verse 1. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots.
A branch shall grow out of his roots, out of the stem of Jesse. That's coming off this tree. Another part that's going to come out. That's going to make this whole tree healthy.
And the spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, and the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge, and the fear of the Lord.
Man, and that's still going to do a major business to this tree. It's going to come off the stem, and it's going to just make this tree very, very, very healthy. This is the consolidation of the both kingdoms. The whole full tree be going back into an effect. And that's Yahweh was he doing at this time. Now let's go to Hebrews 3, 7 and 9. We're almost through.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 3 and verse 7. Wherefore, as the Holy Ghost said, today, if ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation, in the day of temptation in the wilderness, when your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my works 40 years.
Okay. He said, again,
verse 7. Wherefore, as the Holy Ghost said, today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation in the day of temptation in the wilderness, when your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my works 40 years.
And he's talking about this is Paul also. He said in the wilderness, the only people that was in the wilderness at that time was the children of Israel. So it's not talking about any other nation. Paul is talking nothing but to the children of Israel. So quit making them out to be doing something for all these other nations. It was never intended. It never will be. This book is for Israel and Israel only. And that's just how it is. I don't even hate to tell other nations because y'all treated us so bad. I'm glad to tell other nations. It's not for y'all. It's not for y'all. This is only for us. Now give me Amos 9 and 8.
The book of Amos, chapter 9 and verse 8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord God are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I would not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord. Verse 9. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations.
He's going to get everybody of Israel. He's going to put them all in this sifter. And when he shake that sifter, all of Israel is going to remain in that sifter. They will not touch the earth at this time. Go ahead.
Like as corn is sifted in the sheaf, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth.
Ain't nobody going to fall out. Everybody that's Israel, you don't know who Israel is this time. You're going to know who Israel. Because everybody going to be in that same little top bowl. Yeah, we already here now. But look what happened, though.
Verse 10, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword.
Oh man, this is all the sinner of his people. So he's gonna shake us out. He ain't just gonna shake us out and everybody just gonna be just all hunky-dory. Sinners that's in that shakeout gonna die. Gonna be put to death. Go ahead.
The evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. In verse 11.
That's all we needed on that one. Let me get Ezekiel. No. Better yet, go ahead and keep going on that one.
Verse 11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof.
He said, raise up the tabernacle of David that has fallen, which was fell off to what? Remember that David had his kingdom. That was the kingdom of David at that time. And what fell off? The northern kingdom. He said he's going to close those breaches back up, meaning he's going to bring in the northern kingdom back in to fill those gaps that fell apart at that time. He's going to fix this tree. The branches that fell off, guess what? He's going to graft them back in, back onto the tree. So this grafting is nothing but the northern kingdom. And I'm giving y'all all this information because it's Christians going to come at y'all all the time. And the first thing they want to say, but we was grafted in. Not if you ain't a nation of Israel, you what? It don't fit. It ain't going to produce. In fact, it ain't going to do nothing but wear that tree out.
And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. Verse 12, that they may possess the remnant of Edom.
Oh, shoot. That's the remnant of that other tree trying to grab back in. Ain't that the limit on the tree? He said, you're going to possess us. You're going to be part of this tree after a while, all right? Because we're going to be your possession. Read.
And of all the heathen, which are called by my name, said the Lord, that doeth this.
They said he going to do this. All of them. We're going to, let me get Ezekiel 11, chapter 11. Where you? Go ahead. 16, I'm sorry. Verse 16.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 11, verse 16. Therefore say, thus saith the Lord God, although I have cast them far off among the heathen, and although I have scattered them among the countries, yet will I be to them as a little sanctuary in the countries where they shall come.
A little sanctuary. Right now, that's what we are right now. Little sanctuaries are the Most High God. We follow His law, the Most High, our bodies are living sacrifice, we little sanctuary. This camp, the places that we in, we are little sanctuaries, trying to go back and do God's law, statutes, and commandments. 3.
Verse 17. Therefore say, thus saith the Lord God, I will even gather you from the people and assemble you out the countries where you have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Israel.
Yeah, we're going back into the land of Israel. That's as simple and plain as that. If we, the ones who were doing His law, statutes, and commandments, remain in them to the end, because we got to endure this thing to the end. Give me Romans 9 and 26.
The book of Romans, chapter 9 and verse 26. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living God.
And that's what we at now. That's what they tell us on the corner. Y'all ain't no Israelite. Y'all ain't God's chosen people. He said over there, that's when you're gonna be called a son of the living God. This is the same place we're doing. They don't believe that the Israelites down in Mexico are Israelites or God's chosen people. They don't even believe the Israelites don't even believe they are God's chosen people. And where you at? You hear 17? Go ahead. No, 26. 26. That was it on 26. Yeah. Let me get Hosea 1 and 10.
The book of Hosea, chapter 1 and verse 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, There it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God.
Saying the exact same thing in Hosea as it said in the New Testament. All Paul was pulling from was the Old Testament. All the Paul teaching was of the Old Testament. People try to make him out to came like he came with some new gospel. No, he didn't. He's quoting the same gospel that was been taught from the beginning. Now, let's get this last scripture, Ezekiel 37:22. And we're going to be closing it on this one. And that's the reason I closed it on this one. I always got a reason for closing it.
The book of Ezekiel, the 37 and verse 22. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations.
We ain't going to be split no more. That's over with. We are going into one nation, whether y'all like it or not. Whether you like your Issachar brothers, you just won't be going. Or if y'all don't like your Cubans, you just won't be going. So you better start getting your mind right, straighten yourself out. I can't stand the way they drive. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'll just be like, shoot, if I was, I'll be like, I'll be trying to go to your house. I say, just don't let them drive nothing, you know. I don't mind them, but they crazy when they drive. But look, we gotta love them. We gotta love them. We gotta take them in because this is how it's gonna go. Go ahead.
And they say one king shall be king to them all.
That's your Hawashah.
Understand? Everybody got to understand that, man. Hawashah is our Lord and our Savior, man. For all the nations of Israel.
Neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all.
At what?
At all.
At what?
At all.
Boy, I'm telling you, we ain't gonna be divided no more. And on that note, we're gonna say shalom.
Shalom.